workshop is called Assignments on the Line. And it's, I have to start by giving credits, because this is not my thoughts. This is like a bundles of people. I was at Mads Rode's training a few years ago, or last year, with the two-handed spears. And I was at Kino's workshop where he was talking about how mentally prepare yourself as a trainer. I've been picked on the back by Sandra a lot, saying you have to make people understand what they're actually doing on the line. And she's been talking a lot with Klaus. So this is kind of like the putting together of everything. So okay, so the whole point is, a little background story is that Ulfhednir had trained with this system where we had like teams and commanders and sub-commanders, and we tried to make that work. And we tried to make it work for 5 years. And in 2017, we got our asses seriously kicked. And we went back and we were like, there's something wrong, because we thought we wanted to be like these powerful, wild wolves that would just smash through the line and kill everybody. And we called ourselves creative, and we wanted to be on top of the game and all these things we were talking about. But our enemies were just laughing at us, because they knew exactly what we did every time. So when we start charging, they just took one step backwards and stabbed us with a one-handed spear, and we refused to use the one-handed spear because we didn't think it was whatever.
No, finish the sentence.
Yeah, but no, it's so we didn't think it was a really cool weapon to use, and we thought the axe should be better. And so, but we really got our asses kicked, so we had to basically rethink a whole way of structuring the line. But there's not 60 people. So we just basically went back and said, okay, we're going to stop doing that. We don't know what we're going to do instead, but we have to do something instead. So start being creative. And then I went to Ask Workshop, and then I had Mads' workshop with the two-handed spear. Was basically, what is the two-handed spear's assignment on the line? He has to kill the other two-handed spears. And I went, okay. So if the two-handed spear has an assignment on the line, then all the weapons must have different assignments. They not jobs. The point isn't that we were kind of going into this, well, the axemen should protect the spearmen. So we gave the axemen a job on the line. But that's stupid, because the situations on the line changes all the time. So if the only thing the axemen was doing was trying to hit spears, they were not cooperating, and they were too tunnel visions. Then I went to Kino's workshop, and Kino talked about arousal control. Good for Ulfhednir, arousal control, and he talked about pattern recognition. So you're looking for a pattern, and the pattern that Ulfhednir was looking for was, how can we kill the people on the flank so we can run around and kill them in the back? This is a really stupid pattern to look for when the lines are 4 lines deep, and when there's a lot of one-handed spears. Because when you run out and try and kill, you get stabbed in the belly by a one-handed spear. So we had to rethink. Okay, so that's like the intro. Woo! Hey! Woo! I'm talking a bit fast because I want us to go out and fight. So, if you were to explain to an audience what to look for when you're looking at a line fight, like when you look at a football match, you look at the ball. You follow the ball, you know what's going on. If you look at the line fight, what are you going to look for? And I found out that what you're looking for is the wall. The team that has the shield wall in the end normally wins, So when if the other team's wall is falling, if it's crumbling, and then the team that still has a wall, it can be open order, closed order, doesn't matter. But if they have a line, if they're working together, they are the ones that are winning. So that's actually the sport, is who has the wall the longest time. Not all the time, but the longest time. And this is the basic. This is the game. Shields, axes, and swords. And then we apply other stuff and make it more advanced. But this is the core of our sport. It's the shield war. I'm going to go through the three phases of the fight. And if everybody understands what we're doing, then we can work together in these phases. Phase 1 is the grind. It's when we start. Everybody's up. All the shields are in line. All the one-handed spears are out. All the two-handed spears are out. We're all standing in the best position that we can. And the assignment, what's going on in phase 1, is trying to make holes in the enemy line. You know, and this is where we were wrong, because we tried to win the fight in phase 1, which is pretty stupid. So all the weapons are in play. Some people can reach you, some people cannot. Who can reach you and who can't is very essential for how you fight. That's what you should be looking for. Who can reach me? If he can't reach me, he's not a threat. Hence, two-handed spears and one-handed spears are really dangerous in phase 1. I'm going to get back to the different weapons. But phase 1 is basically this. And this is the big fight. Phase 2 is get strong positions. Because phase 2 is before the line is crumbled. It's when you may have advanced. There may be many people. This can you see the picture? It is Klaus and Simon and Jeppe, and there was a few other people. They were heavily outnumbered by us, but they won. You can go on Trelleborg's Facebook page and see that some guy took 250 pictures of this fight. So you can see it. But what they are in here is they are in a really strong position. They know exactly who they can reach, who they can't reach, and no one can charge Klaus, because then they're going to get killed by Simon or they're going to get killed by Jeppe. And also they had a Danish guy in the back here. So this is a really strong position. And anyone, when Eric is just dead, he steps out. The next person who comes in, he hasn't got any overview. He doesn't know, but he's actually stepping right into Klaus's target zone. So he goes, what's going on? And Klaus goes, he knows exactly what he can reach, and when they step into that reaching point, they don't run, they don't charge through the line, because when they charge through the line, they lose their overview, which was our big mistake. Because when we came to this point, we went push through, and then we were working one-on-one, and we thought we were great, but we were not, because someone with a one-handed spear just went. Because the team beats the power. So looking for the pattern of phase 2 is really important. This is when the teamwork really comes in play, and this is where more than just 2 people can work together. This is, if you understand that we are in phase 2 and how to support each other in this position, and we look for that pattern, then we don't need to get to phase 3, because the enemy will just come and fall on our weapons. But phase 3 is the chaos phase. It's where the line breaks up. It's where we all run around, and that's also where you need to have overview, so we don't all just run like headless chickens, but we keep communicating. And we do, I don't know, figure of eights, and we run together, but we make sure, for instance, that no one comes behind us. It's very important that no one breaks through the line, the shield wall, also in the chaos phase. So that's the 3 phases: the wall, strong position, and the chaos phase, the grind. But each weapon has different assignments in the different phases. It gets technical now. So the axe has his main job in phase 1 is to keep the wall. He basically has to survive phase 1. The more shields we have in phase 3, the better chances the more likely it is for us to win. Yeah. So the axeman, he has to basically protect himself and keep the wall in phase 1. Then phase 2, some of the enemy are dead. He moves forward. He can protect people coming through the line, and he can also be a threat. Because one of the things that happens in our sport is that you have to change your mindset all the time. You have to go from defense to offense. You can't. Some people, they slumber when they fight with an axe or a sword, and they go, all I have to do is protect. And they're in this protecting mode, and then suddenly someone is within reach, and they don't kill him because they're in their head that I'm just protecting. You're always a threat. You can go in and you can kill, but you don't have to run through the line and smack people in the back. You do that in phase 3. So in phase 2, you're pushing through. You're a threat, and you're also protecting your long weapons. So you're working together. Everybody's working together in the team. And in phase 3, then they can run around. They can start killing people. They're quick and maneuverable, and also they can hold this order. Yeah. The sword is the same. It's the same as the axe. The only thing is, sword people often place themselves on the flank, and they do this pushing thing. But later years we found that a one-handed spear on the flank is more efficient than a sword. Why? Because he can reach longer. Yeah, and if you can reach somebody, you can kill them. So, the assignment with the sword is basically the same as with the axe. They have different things they can do. The axe can also works better in a really closed line because he can come over the shields. The sword is a bit more room. When we go to phase 3, it's more fun to have a sword because you can just kill people. That's great. The two-handed spear is very active in phase 1, and that's where it's trying to kill other two-handed spears. But it has 2 threats: one-handed spear and two-handed spear. And the one-handed spear is a bitch because it can reach you and it has protection. We don't like one-handed spears because they're the elves of our fighting system.
The truth has been spoken.
Oh, I'll get back to that. So, but the two-handed spear, it has to find other two-handed spears and take them out. Because if the other team has less two-handed spears in phase 2, we can make a stronger position, and then we can start killing a lot of people. But if I just go in phase 1 and look for shield people to kill, what some might do is that they might feed me a little bit. They might let me kill a few shield people, and I'll get eager and start killing a lot of people. But I'm killing people who are not really important, and then the two-handed spear is killing me, or the one-handed spear. So I have to make sure who can reach me, who is a threat for me, and I have to make sure that they are not a threat to someone else on my line. In phase 2, the two-handed spear has 2 options. It can either kill a lot of people, start sniping, and you know what it is. But it can also protect the sword and shield men that are doing the push by simply blocking anything that comes so that we can make this strong position. So I go from offense to defense even with the two-handed spear. In phase 3, the two-handed spear is the job is almost over, but he can shout and call, and of course he can make sure that no one runs through the line. But if you are in the chaos phase and you see a guy with a two-handed spear and you have a shield and a sword, he should be dead in seconds. And if not, you have to go back and train spear hunting, because he's basically not very efficient when he's on his own against the shield. Okay? The Danax. Thank you, Sven, for joining my workshop. Now I'll tell you how to... The Danax is a very efficient weapon when it's used as a team player. The Danax cannot reach the two-handed spear, so it shouldn't go and duel with the two-handed spear. Then it's most likely to die. But the Danax can support a push. He can go on the flank, and if there's only a shieldman on the other side, then the Danax and the shieldman is very efficient. And then the Danax can also change pressure. So he can go one place, make a lot of pressure, then the enemy sends like their support to and he can easily change and go in, and he can make sure that you cannot make a push, because no one pushes through where the Danax is, because then they just die. And supported by one-handed spear or two-handed spear, or what, in any team combination, the Danax is really good, but I see it a bit like defense. It protects the people it's fighting with. It's not, its main option is not killing. You know, of course, everybody kills everybody when they can. Okay? You're always a threat. But when the Danax is played this way, it's much more efficient. And Danax also has voice and view, yeah, because it can go back. Hey, we need pressure over here, right? Run over. Come on, come on, come on. No. Kill Christopher! Kill Christopher!
Nice Sven impersonation.
Christopher doesn't take his kills. So. Then you shout, stick on the big.
Yeah. Okay. Last weapon is the one-handed spear.
What a handsome man.
Yes. He is Iron Age, but never mind. The one-handed spear is absolutely the most efficient weapon in the line fight. And it's very efficient in phase 1. So I suggest that all the one-handed spears is in phase 1, because they have protection, they can hold the wall, and they can kill people. And they can take out two-handed spears. Oh my God, they can take two out. Yeah. So, and then when we move to phase 2, it can still hold the wall, it can still be a threat, it has a long reach. And one-handed spears working together is also really efficient, because they can cover a lot of ground. So when you are with a one-handed spear, don't hang back and think that you are part of the reserve. Make room, make sure they're in front, because you are protection and killing in the same combo. And in phase 3, of course, some people can run around with a one-handed spear, but it's not a super efficient one-on-one weapon. But then they just throw it and drop a sword. So it's a very efficient weapon. All right, it's out. That's it. Okay, so the basic principles you have to think about when you are fighting in the line is who is most likely to die in this situation. More weapons pointing at you than you have pointing on them, then you are most likely to die. When you are most likely to die, change the situation. Call in other weapons, move out of the line, do something. Don't just look at it and go, oh shit. It doesn't work. So, and who is the threat is the people who can reach you. And that's again where the one-handed spear is really annoying, because they have this low guard, and they just slide a little bit, and then they can, they reach so long. So you're looking up here, but you also really have to look from these booby traps from the ground, because they spring into your head. It's so annoying.
Virkelig traumatiseret derovre.
PTSD.
I tested this at I think it was last S training, and I stood on the flank, and we were fighting against Klaus and those guys, and I had like I borrowed Henrik's long sex, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my old charge on the flank, and I just went, and I charged. I think it was Christoph, and I was like, yeah. And Gage was just like 3 rows down the line with like a little twig, just went, it can't be true. Do it again. I did it 5 times, and I decided that this technique doesn't work anymore. So if I have to do that now, I have to say, okay, I want to charge. I need someone to protect me from this person, so I have another shield that's protecting me. I need someone with a Danax, maybe coming with me on my outer flank. and I need a two-handed spear to take out her so she doesn't kill me when I step in. So that's a pattern I have to look for. What happens if I step into this step? Who can then reach me? Because, and then I have to talk to my people quickly, and then when we five work together, then it can work again. Yeah? So who can help me? That's the third question. Who can help me? Who can? Sven, come here. We're gonna go through. You know, we're calling in people. We're talking to each other, and when everybody knows this, then we're all talking in the same logic. Then we don't need to have commands. We don't need a commander behind us saying, "Move to the left," blah, 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 because it takes too long anyway. We have to be able to communicate with each other on the front line without looking at each other, without talking very much. I just have to go, Anna, Kenny. You know, because she knows that Kenny is a threat, and she knows that I have to take a step forward, and she's with the one-handed spear, so she kills him, and I can step forward, and we win together. Yeah. And then the last one is this: make space to work. We have these weird ideas about shield walls and overlapping shields, or a lot of people, and all the time look at the line that you're fighting in. Do you have room to move? Can you actually make your weapons work? Are you more efficient? If not, step out. And again, the people who are in the front line, they have the overview, so they are not the ones stepping out unless they're getting tired. You know? Because they're totally scanned the situation. They know exactly where they can reach and where they can't. Yeah. So if you're coming in, you know, wait, look what's going on, and then step in if it's important. If not, just wait. Arousal control. Someone taught me. No, it was Kino.
Same.
I just came up with it.
So this is the kind of tickly point, because there is people here that are better than other people. So you have the assignments of the weapons, but there are people who are better at fighting, and sometimes you just look at the line and you start fighting, but if you don't spot the enemy's key player, then he's gonna destroy you. In the old days, there's a lot of people, they couldn't fight really good. A few people came in, they were training, they were killing everybody. Then people said, oh, well, if 2 against 1 is working, then 1 is taken out. Yeah, and then it escalated from there. But there's still key players. You don't meet the Danish handball team and don't think about Mikkel Hansen. You know, you have to take him out. And the way to do it is work together, 2 people, but you don't have to kill him. You can just pacify him. You can just make sure that he can't reach anybody. You know, then he gets really frustrated and starts shouting behind the line and gets angry, and maybe when he hits you, he'll hit you too hard, but take it as a compliment. Anyway, so because the whole point is that the teamwork will beat any key player. This is what we are going for. It's just random people, you know. But this crew, they are working together. They are in sync with each other. They know the different assignments. This is a phase 2 situation.
I hope.
And they're coming through. Carter in the center. She's leading the attack. Münster and Wood cross section with the 2-handed spears. Someone has an overview behind. The Danex is on the way, and so forth. Yeah? So we have to work together, and by communicating, but also by working within the same logic. So it doesn't work if we don't agree that when we are in phase 2, we have a strong position, we move slowly forward in arousal control. If I just went charge and run because I want my kills, then first of all, I'll get killed by the one-handed spear. Second of all, I'll leave a big fat gap in my friend's line, and they die. And then I'm just a bigger dick than I was before, you know. So we have to make sure that line fighting is a team sport, and that we have, when you pick up your weapon, you know what the assignments of that weapon is. Okay. So that was it. That's the theory behind it. Now we're going to go out and try it.